Welcome to Robertsbridge Junction on the Rother Valley Railway. I'm Trevor Streeter. At the railway we like trains, naturally, but we're also a serious business. We have bills to pay and we have to plan for the future. One of the things that we realise as a heritage railway is that whatever we do is going to affect the economy, and we would like to think that we're making a positive contribution to society and the economy locally. In this film, I'm going to explore what sort of contribution we're making and how this might change when we achieve our objective of completing this missing link. You may have seen from our previous film that we aim to complete the Colonel Stevens original railway, continuing the Cantonese Sussex line from Bodiam all the way to a connection with the National Rail network at Robertsbridge Junction. As part of our business planning, the Rother Valley Railway commissioned an economic report from the financial consultants Steer Davis Gleave to forecast what the effects of such a development would be.
My name's Tom Higby and I'm an Associate Director at Steer Davis Gleave, and we're a planning and economics consultancy. What struck me about this project was the enthusiasm and the dedication of all the people that are involved on a voluntary basis that makes this thing happen, and also the commitment into wanting to extend the railway and improve the overall Cantonese Sussex Railway.
Can you tell us what you're doing for the Rother Valley Railway?
Sure. So the Rother Valley Railway, as you know, are looking to extend the Cantonese Sussex line to Robertsbridge, and we were asked to undertake an assessment of what the local economic impacts from that would be associated with an increase in visitor numbers that resulted from that, and then the spend and employment effects that would then generate locally. What we think is that the impact of extending the line significantly expands the catchment for the railway. So in particular, it now would serve a rail market that hitherto has been unserved. We looked at a scheme, the Bluebell Railway, where they had a similar extension of a railway to East Grinstead, so it was quite analogous, and that resulted in an increase in around 30,000 trips per year, and an increase in revenue, I think, from around 3 million to 4 million per year. We think the order of increase would be similar for Rother Valley once implemented. What we are forecasting in economic terms is the direct benefit in terms of the increased expenditure of those additional 30,000 visitors. The indirect effect, which is the supply chain impacts, for example, if someone spends money at a restaurant, the restaurant then buys in the food and produce and employs the staff that support that activity. And then what's called the induced effect, which is the increased amount of income through wages and so on in the local economy, and the impact that has on spend. So there's a sort of multiplier effect. So as part of the work, we looked at how important the tourism economy was as part of the overall economy. Our analysis showed that tourism jobs accounted for 17% of the total jobs in the area. So it really is a key. I think it was the second highest after public sector of any employment in the area. So the scheme would have to be viewed very much in that context as promoting and enhancing what is a key industry for the area, and the employment and the spend and the activity that generates.
Tom went on to set out the projected local economic benefits. During each of the expected 2 years of construction, there'd be almost £7 million put into the local economy. That's money paid to contractors and engineers to build the new stretch of rail. Over the following 10 years, increasing the number of passengers carried on the new stretch of railway would bring in even more money into the area. But an even larger amount is expected to come in as a result of other local businesses expanding and increasing their sales to those visitors. And it's not just money. People are needed to serve those visitors, and that means jobs.
Through the construction period, we think there will be 36 additional full-time jobs over the 2-year period of construction, and then over the period of operation over the 10 years, around 75 potentially permanent jobs, taking account of both the scheme and the wider investment programs. This scheme is different because the costs are being funded through private contributions, so those benefits are being achieved at no cost to the public sector. So effectively you're getting those local economic benefits without any requirement for local funding to to support that.
So clearly there's expected to be a significant benefit to local business from our development and at no public cost. Too good to be true? I thought I'd talk to people around another heritage railway that's undergone similar expansion to what we're planning and see what really happened there. I've come to Pickering today at the end of the successful North York Moors Railway to speak to people locally about how the railway affects them.
My name is Matthew Wilkinson and I own Television House in Pickering. Well, it's a third generation business, so my grandparents started it, then my parents, and then my brother and I own the shop now. 62 years established.
So the railway has been here for some time,
Yes.
but they had an extension a few years ago through to Whitby. Have you noticed any changes in the business by reason of that?
Yeah, massive amount more customers and a lot more visitors coming into the area. The accommodation providers are very, very happy with the extension to Whitby. It's brought a lot more visitors to them and a lot more business to them as well.
Have all the changes been positive?
I think so. Definitely they've been very positive for everybody in the town. The cafes and the pubs and the restaurants need the visitors to come, and it has had a very good impact on the town. I mean, Whitby's a great town, Pickering's a great town. To have the two connected by a steam railway, fantastic. Visitors go up there, visitors come down here. It works both ways, really positive for the town. We get it directly and indirectly from customers coming to use the railway. Directly, they'll come and maybe buy a camera or a small television, and indirectly we'll provide the B&Bs and the accommodation providers and the hotels and the restaurants with items that they need, which is a result because the money's come into the town.
My name's Jill Hall. I run the Black Swan Inn in Pickering. I've been here about 3 years. We have letting rooms, a bar, restaurant, on-site brewery and on-site cocktail bar. I'm not necessarily a steam enthusiast, but I do like the steam engines particularly. I think they bring a lot to the town and it's certainly a great family day out. We do get quite a few people through coming from Whitby to Pickering for the day to then travel back on the railway. If we have visitors coming to the area or coming to stay with us, we'll often take them on the railway because it's a nice experience. It's a good family experience. There's some lovely countryside. I mean, okay, a lot of it's down in a valley, but you can get off at because you can have a roving ticket and you can get off at the various different stations and have a bit of an explore and then get on the next service to the next stop. So it works quite well.
Have you noticed any differences between when the railway is running and when it's not?
When the railway's running, which is mainly through the tourist season from March through to the end of October, we certainly see a lot more people coming through the town that wouldn't maybe necessarily be here otherwise. I mean, for example, in January and February when the railway's not running, there's a significant drop in the number of people in the town.
So you'd like to see more services coming into Pickering?
Yes, I think having more services through Pickering would be ideal because it just brings more people through to what is essentially a very lovely little market town.
I'm John Bailey. I'm chairman of the North York Moors Historical Railway Trust, which is the charity that owns the North York Moors Railway.
Thank you.
So what changes have you seen in the extension through to Whitby?
And principally, we're able now to offer a day out to our visitors. So it's more than just a train ride. But what we found in practice is we're taking over 200,000 people a year into Whitby. The businesses there love us for the business that we're bringing into them. The classic was talking to a taxi driver in Whitby who said, in his view, the return of steam heritage trains to Whitby had been one of the best things to happen to the town for years. And it just struck me that that was really significant. You wouldn't imagine a taxi driver seeing a heritage railway as a positive benefit, but it certainly was to him. And now, for instance, the wartime weekend in October, which is a huge event, the mayor of Pickering at one point reckoned that it brought over £1 million into the town in one weekend. We're now working with the local business community to jointly manage that event.
Is there something that could be improved?
I think my particular focus is always on the customer experience. It's making sure that all our staff, whether they're paid, whether they're volunteers, their first and foremost objective must be to ensure that all our visitors have a really great day out. And sometimes that means actually directing them off the railway. It means explaining to them that there are other things that they can do in the area. Because if they're travelling with us and enjoying themselves, and they go off and enjoy other attractions, that actually means they're much more likely to come back in future.
So it seems the North York Moors Railway helps support a lot of businesses in Pickering and Whitby and other stops along the line. What about here in Kent and Sussex?
So I'm Sean Cowland, I'm the Managing Director of Old Dairy Brewery. We have been in Tenterden now for 3.5 years. We are a microbrewery, but we are one of the biggest, if not the biggest microbrewer in Kent. We're in our shop at the moment, and this is obviously the front of house. This is where the majority of certainly the trade to the public goes through. We have weekly brewery tours, we do 3 a week, which are very popular. We get very full, particularly through the summer months. When the trains are running, it also helps us. With our bar in the shop as well. We do a lot of trade through the shop.
Some of the traffic that you see coming through here would have been by reason of being close to the station. Is that so?
Absolutely. The location was one of the things that drew us to the site in the first place, was its locality right next to the steam railway. It generates a lot of tourism in the town, and that's very important to us to keep business going through our door. The town is, based where it is. It's kind of out on a limb a little bit. It's in the centre of the Weald, which means that the population around here isn't as intense as it would be in a big town like Ashford, or Tunbridge Wells. But connection to the main line would certainly give a lot more people the opportunity to come in, and the town thrives on tourism.
Tony Robbins, I'm the landlord of the Ostrich Hotel in Robertsbridge, which is a pub, restaurant and hotel business, and we've been here for 25 years. I've never been on a steam train. I look forward to going on one. I've been to see many places where they keep steam trains. I'm more interested in the vehicles than having a ride on them. When the bypass went in, you've seen Robertsbridge gradually close its shops with nobody coming into Robertsbridge. So at the end of the day, the village, in my view, would be dying back. There's no visitors. If the steam railway comes to Robertsbridge and we get it going, I think that will bring people back to the village. You think a pub runs from, for the people of the village, which is about 3,000 people. But in fact, if we relied on them 3,000 people, the pubs wouldn't be here. You rely on people coming from other villages and everything else. So having somewhere to come to, an attraction, will be only a benefit to the village.
Because it isn't straightforward, and this is going to be delayed once again.
Oh goodness me.
My name is Sean Dewey, and I'm the General Manager of the Cantonese Sussex Railway.
What are your thoughts about the reconnection to Robertsbridge and the effect it will have?
We're very excited at the extension to Robertsbridge because this will transform the Cantonese Sussex Railway. It will give us connectivity onto the main London Hastings line, and that will introduce new passengers to be able to come onto the railway and operate from Robertsbridge to Tenterden.
Is there a benefit of connecting to the main line rather than an isolated operation as you have now?
Yes, there is, because at the moment many people say we start in the middle of nowhere and we go to the middle of nowhere, which of course isn't quite true. Tenterden is one of the most important Wealden towns, and we operate to Bodiam, where there is a very major National Trust attraction. However, what it will do is to give us the ability to be bringing people in, not just from London, but also from the south coast, and to be able to then all of a sudden we have connectivity and that makes a massive difference to the railway.
We hope you found that informative and that you can see that there's some economic benefits to be had. Thank you for watching.